Hi, I'm Anna, I'm the creator of Hood, and I'm here to answer some questions about the magic in the world of Hood. So our magic is based in science. It's not a throwing people around, throwing fireball. It's a lot more about the science, about atoms, how to manipulate them, how they can cause things to grow, how you can control your own body with healing yourself, with holding your breath, with making yourself stronger, etc. Probably the most extensive thing that some of them can do is shapeshift. They use the atoms to change the molecules and everything, the atoms in their body to look like someone else. The magic is completely female based. Sorry guys, you have to be a woman in our world to be able to deal with magic. And it's a genetic code that gets transferred basically through the female line, and eventually the older woman, the mother, will give up their powers for their daughters to inherit. Within what they are called HYCATHIC, that's the general group of people, there are 3 tiers of level of power. So we've got the lowest tier, which have the Bethleae, then above that are the Synthei, and the most powerful ones are called the NYRIDIAE. The amount of power that you hold is based on what tier you belong to, but also what kind of practice you put in. Like we said before, it's a very scientific magic. The more you practice, the more you grow your own knowledge, the better you can be at it. So technically, where in tiers, a Syntha would have more powers than a Bethla. If a Bethla trains more, gains more knowledge, they might actually succeed a Syntha in powers. The main difference between all of them is within Bethla and Syntha, they are both restricted to touch. You have to touch the object, the person you want to do the magic to. The NYRIDIAE therefore are like 10 times, maybe even 100 times more powerful than the other 2 tiers, because they are not restricted by touch. They can do it from distance, which makes them a lot more dangerous, and also their power holds much longer, because a Syntha, Bethla or NYRIDIAE, you have to regain your strength by resting. Like, you don't have unlimited resources to your power, but the more stronger you get, the more longer you can sustain it, the more things you can do before that is completely depleted, and you have to like more or less recharge yourself. And it's very, very strenuous to the body. HYCATHIC could technically kill themselves by like using too much magic, but in general they will probably stop before that happens. So there are 2 different stories about how the HYCATHIC got created. You got the more scientific based version, which is based on like once upon a time a gene mutated and created a new branch of humans. Another more legend based, more mythology based version is that it's connected to the goddess Hecate, which is the goddess of magic. And she foresaw an event in the future because she can control the foresight of past, present, future, and she foresaw an event that she felt humankind need to be protected from. So she raised 8 souls from the underworld, 8 female souls, and she bestowed them with her own powers, minus the ability to see through time, because that would affect them too much and would hinder them too much. So nobody knows what actually the event is that they were supposed to protect, whether it has already happened or whether it's still supposed to happen. But that is the more mythology side of this question of the HYCATHIC creation. So with the NYRIDIAE, there can only be 8 lines maximum in existence at one time, for the simple reason that 8 of them got raised from the underworld, and they can only produce 1 daughter with the exact same powers that they inherit. All the other daughters receive different kind of powers. So throughout the ages, it's been always be passed on one-on-one. They never got multiplied in the NYRIDIAE. And because power corrupts, the HYCATHIC created something they called a reckoning, in which they can control out-of-hand HYCATHIC when they use their powers for the wrong reasons. And they strip them of their powers by capturing them in a reckoning hold, and therefore all the NYRIDIAE lines in the Hood story of present day have become extinct. So within the story, we've got HYCATHIC artifacts, which can be divided up in 2 sections. You've got the HYCATHIC relics, which are at the moment that a HYCATH dies without having produced a daughter to pass on the magic to. Their powers are contained in a nearby object, and these objects are called HYCATHIC relics. Then the other sections are reckoning halls. I've briefly talked about a reckoning being performed. Well, the result of a reckoning is that a soul gets trapped in an object, and those objects are reckoning halls. The difference between the two HYCATHIC artifacts is that with a relic, if you touch it, you can technically use that power. With a reckoning hall, it kind of works the other way because it's a soul trapped inside. It acts more like a possession, and with a HYCATHIC relic, you are still in control. With a reckoning hold, not so much. So one of the most famous reckoning holds are called the Phoenix Stones. They're not ridiculously old. They were created about 100 years before the start of our story in the late 19th century, at the end of the Second HYCATH War. The Second HYCATH War started because there was a family of very powerful HYCATHI that, very simply said, wanted world domination. At the end, there were 3 left standing, and they were defeated, and these 3 women were captured in the reckoning halls called the Phoenix Stone. We got a red one, a blue one, and a green one. Because of this war, humankind grew ever more wary of HYCATHI, and they were sort of shunned everywhere. So they all found a place at that time called Wadan, and a new city was created there with the help of the Phoenix Stones that transformed this very dry piece of desert into a very fruitful oasis that at this day is called Orme Rouge. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit that like button. If you've got any questions, leave us a comment below. And if you'd like to know more about the world of Hood, don't forget to subscribe.